Hi everybody, it's Mrs. Thomas. I'm excited today to get to talk to you more about argumentation and rhetoric. And today we're talking about the modes of development. The mode is the type of essay and method used to develop an argumentative essay. There are actually 9 different modes that we'll be learning about today: exemplification, narration, description, compare and contrast, process, classification, cause and effect, definition, and argumentation. So let's start with narrative first. Narrative tells a story. It focuses on an anecdote or memory. It's typically organized in chronological order, versus description, which is vivid imagery that appeals to the 5 senses. It can be organized spatially, and it doesn't have anything to do with the story. So let's look at these 2 examples. The first example is narration. Notice that the descriptor, the squirrel, is acting as a catalyst for a personal story, versus the descriptive example where we have all description, no sign of a story whatsoever that's going to be introduced. The next 2 modes are exemplification and compare and contrast. In exemplification, we use examples to prove a thesis. It's used for informational essays, and it's organized by importance typically. In compare and contrast, we look for similarities and differences for 2 topics. The organization typically is subject by subject or point by point. Here's some examples. The exemplification example is about bike sharing. It's giving us information on the details of advantages of having a bike sharing program, versus the compare and contrast example, which is the age-old dog versus cat argument, which is the better pet, the dog or the cat. Next, we have process versus classification and division. So in process, we're going to explain the how-to of something. We're going to organize it by steps, and this is typically informational or technical writing. With classification and division, we're going to split a whole into parts or sort that whole into groups, and it is informational writing as well. Our examples, the process example is about how to bake a cake. The classification and division example is about types of learners. Next, we have cause and effect and definition. Cause and effect, we're thinking about reasons and results, and we may have multiple reasons and one effect, or one reason with multiple effects. For definition, we want to impress upon the reader the meaning of a term. And I will always say in argument, you want to always define your terms. So here are our examples for those. We have pollution is the cause, and the effect is respiratory illnesses. And for definition, we're getting into the concrete meaning of what photosynthesis is. Last but not least, we have argument, which is the act of persuasion. This particular example is about school uniforms. You guys can take a look at that at your leisure. Thank you so much. I hope that you understand modes more.
Created using Powtoon.